to say you are one and be aware of that. Why are you here? Well, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to do this. And watch how many walk-ins ever make it to the big time or do something constructive for the world. All the whistleblowers together have done nothing for the world. Sure, there's a couple of documents out there and a lot of photographs. I mean, I shot thousands of we shot a couple thousand photographs of UFOs and things like that. But did it change the reality? Well, if you talk to my friend who I did all my stuff with, we did in one way. But that's a whole different story. We might get into that later, but I want to go back to the idea of these people claiming to be something. The other word is star children, star beings. Star children are the younger ones, obviously, and the star beings are the adults. But what I noticed in I guess I was around 25 to 30, and people were saying that children's a star child. Star child meaning super aware, super psychic. I went to a house, and this lady goes, my son's a star child, and she couldn't be a star being. A star being just means they're aware, and they're aware their child's a star child, and they can work with each other. If the parent isn't a star being, meaning aware, the star child never gets enlightened. And I had an ability. I kind of let it go because I just found it was not working too much for any benefit. But when a star child is born, and as they grow, if they're not opened or turned on or activated, for a word, they never know who they are. If they have dumb parents, unaware parents, they'll never get the awakening that they need to become aware. And I know if I looked in their eyes and I touched them, they would turn crystal. I mean, their aura and everything else, and they'd be aware. But then again, it falls back on the parents being able to help them move forward. My parents told me, no, it's all a lie. It's not real. Don't believe it. Stop doing it. It's only hurting and all that. So person is aware of what we're talking about. It's not going to help their child if he's aware or has it already. So when we say star children, I went to a party, and he goes, I'm going to charge $1 to do a reading for everybody, which was cool. I mean, I gave the boy $1, and I let him talk to me, giving me his prophecy, what he saw, his visions, and all that. And I said to him, what do you want out of life? Oh, I don't know. I said, well, what do you feel like you're interested in? And I worked on him because he needed to be more aware of himself than just doing that. And I worked with him for a half hour, and I am sure it helped open him up to who he is and what he wants to do and all that. Not be a toy thing, just like, well, take it out and get a reading. Okay, put it back in this box. But to become real. So far, walk-ins, star beings, star children. The other word was abductees, which became quite active out there in the UFO world. When Travis Walton put out the movie Fire in the Sky about his abduction, became more aware because it says it's based on a true story. Well, a true story versus a fake story, how much different are they? Well, he was really abducted, but he has no clue what really went on. How many years later, he's still trying to piece it together, which most people do. So the definition of abduction, an abductee, means they were sitting somewhere, and something in a ship came down or near them and brought them inside the ship. And then they know very little. And that was based on a president saying if they get abducted, they can't remember what's happening. But what I think it was changed to give them a program to believe what happened. I'm going to go into simple common sense today, which I think very few people have. When you say something, a about something and, well, I saw this and this is what it is. Use common sense with your judgment as well, because it's raining outside. You can say it's snowing or it's rocks falling down, it's fish falling out of the sky, but what is it really doing? If it looks like fish, it's fish, right? Well, if you're dreaming, it doesn't have to be real. So there's multiple ways to go about proving whatever you're going to say, and you should. So when an abductee gets abducted, they get taken on a ship, the overall thing they come out and say is they started using tools on their body, medical instruments, poking them, taking this and that. I met a few famous people that only told me their story, and I can't say their names, that were abducted. One person was abducted for the whole month, every day. And they kept taking something from them every single day, and then at the end of the month, they let them alone. It's usually for their reason, not for us. They're not teaching us all this stuff in a split second, so when we come back, we're geniuses, other than people like Tesla and Einstein. But in general, they came from far away. Oh, no, they didn't come from Venus or Mars. I mean, there's races there, but they didn't originate there. Venus, we'll go into that later because I got a little more on that too, but let's stick with Mars. What races are there? There's many races there. Our government's there. So what's really going on? I don't think too many people know. We could talk about famous people that claim all these things. If you go online, time travel, you're going to get Bashago. You'll get different names. Al Bielek. I knew Al Bielek. I was close to Al Bielek. Well, not close, but I knew him and talked and got some information and all that. But there's very few people that can prove anything about what they're saying about time travel. It would be so easy if you say you can to do it and prove it. And very few souls can do that. So back to an abductee. They come back into their body, completely shaking, and usually minds like so unaware of anything. They don't even know what happened. A form of delusional state and everything else. It takes time to get back to reality and say, wow, did that really happen now? Because now the body and the mind's going to say, no, it didn't happen. And soul has the awareness that it really did. And that's the first battle that you're going to be going through. Then dealing with the fact that there is aliens, there is a ship, and they do play with us. How do you bring that into your reality and say, well, hopefully they never come for me again. Hopefully they don't come after my children. Hopefully, suddenly the fear starts growing. Sure, there's races out there that live on fear alone. It's energy to them, the same as your soul is to a lot of alien races. Well, a few alien races. I won't say a lot. So, an abductee is vulnerable to being abducted again, because once they do, they get chipped. I mean, we have people trying to remove the chips that were in people and things like that. Some of them had them removed. And they're usually super tiny. And it usually just looks like a small piece of metal. But I watched one operation, and they were going after the piece of metal, and it just kept moving. Every time they went to go in the skin, it just moved it underneath the skin, and it just kept moving around until they got it. When they removed it, it was completely dead. I mean, there was no energy, nothing. But while it was still in the body, they could measure the energy coming from it. And that's called an implant. And 90% of the time, people that get abducted get implanted. Because any alien race that went out of their way to find you and use you did it for a reason, and they want to keep an eye on you so that they can use you again. Not to help you again. And I had multiple battles with people that say they do. Hopefully somebody I know closely will be coming out real soon with some interesting information that will change a lot of things, just as Einstein did. But it's all in the figuring out the formula kind of deal right now, understanding the truth before you come out with it. I mean, you could follow something, but if you don't know the total reasoning and everything behind it, it's not going to mean anything. So do you want to be an abductee? Some people say, yeah, I don't mind. They can take whatever they want. Well, my thing is very similar. You could take me if you want, but you have to give me something back. But I'm protected. I can't be abducted, not from outside of this planet, not by an alien race. Their vibrations of any of those races are a certain level. And that's why they're still here. That's why they're still playing with humans. They were spiritual. They be in the higher realms. I don't care what anybody tells you, anybody thinks, or anybody writes about. They're lying to themselves, and they're going to be lying to you. Spiritual beings do not stay in hell. They don't need to be, they don't want to be, and they don't have to be. Why would they? Because you can't make somebody become something else until they're ready to become something else. So instead of trying to get into hell, you're really trying to get out of it. If you're aware. That's simple. It's that simple. Not complicated. So the word abductee is, many people get abducted in a year now. At least say they are. So it's becoming an accepted word. But the newer word that came out rather recently is called experiencer. Well, when you hear somebody say, I'm an experiencer, that goes a different way than abductee goes. But an abductee is standing in his house, and then the ship comes down and takes him, or goes above the house and pulls him up into the ship. An experiencer is usually dreaming or in a mind state, daydreaming, when suddenly an alien being is standing in front of them, and they're brought somewhere, and then they sit down and talk and things like that. Well, if you think an alien race has to sit down and talk to you about anything, you're delusional. To think that you're better than anybody because that's happening is delusional. Because we have not moved forward in the past 25 years or the 100 years. We are moving backwards. Morals are deteriorating and almost gone. I don't think people know what a moral means. Spiritual laws, they have no clue. Physical laws, you stab somebody, they get hurt. You shoot somebody in the brain, they might die. I mean, those kind of laws, physical, meaning you take a hatchet and chop somebody's head off, they're going to die. All the horrible things are usually physical. Spiritual things aren't painful, sick, or bad, or any of those kind of words. So no matter what a person says, what an alien said to them when they're an experiencer, they wake up back in their room or their car, wherever they are. I mean, it's kind of similar because they are really getting abducted if they have the experience. There's multiple mind programs out there. Coming from aliens, coming from the G word, at all different levels. For different reasons. If you don't believe me, Nick Baggage, who discovered the HARP system, took a little device that was maybe 6 inches and went on Alex Jones' show when he was on before they took him off and showed how it worked. So there's things out there that if you don't see it, you might not believe it. Even if you see it, you still might not believe it. But I would say it's more like learning to look for the truth in the lies, for the truth around it. Because if you understand what's really going on, it can't affect you the same way. Hold on, I just got a question. Oh, no, you're saying the audio's still bad? I don't know what to do. 108, 107. I hope it's okay. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read messages, the old messages, sorry. Just if anybody out there says I'm bad or it's bad, let me know. Oh, all right, yes, maybe about chemtrails, sorry. Well, here in Hawaii, they're spraying the chemtrails, a little bit off subject again, but the chemtrails are being sprayed around us every couple of days. Not sure why. I mean, I'm kind of, but I'm not going to try to prove it to anybody else. But they are spraying them. And that's mixing with the fumes and the toxins coming out of the volcano already. The air here is sick and toxic. Whether they admit that or not, I doubt it. Because if they do, what are they going to do? Lose tourists, lose all their money,